What was the principle of LASAD, or the low atmosphere generator initiating deflector? I had a dream last night about a device that was created sometime in the late 1960s by a young high school student in a small Northwestern town who had an intellect comparable to Einstein, who developed a machine that could alter the time-space continuum around it while the subject inside this field could still be seen. The principle was that as you were inside it, those around him would see time skipping, and different people who would be near this field were sometimes overlapping themselves as they got closer to it. The experience is very similar to a well-known event that took place on the U.S.S. Aldridge called the Philadelphia experiment. The story goes that the Navy, during the 1940s, created a series of generators that, when activated, could alter the space-time continuum and make the ship that had these generators placed on its deck disappear. But from this experiment that I saw in my dream, the subject was still visible, but time was placed into a kind of vortex that could only be described as being altered and manipulated, whereby you could see it skipping in moments of time. The subject who was chosen to see this experiment, as odd as it sounds, was a United States Air Force officer who was involved with Project Blue Book. He and another officer went to see this experiment because this young high school student had contacted them and told them that it was going to be tested, so they both went. One officer had a dog with them, like a police dog, that was held on a leash and was walked around the machine, while the other officer was inside the force field itself and saw these odd things as they happened to him. He would note these events in his report and try describing every detail as it happened. To describe the vortex, it seemed to the officer that the air around him outside the vortex was fuzzy or blurry, which those outside the force field also saw the officer inside as fuzzy or blurry. There was no other evidence of space disruption other than from a visible distortion from directly above the machine. Way above the ground, maybe half a mile up, you saw this kind of dewdrop effect, like the air was shimmering in a circle with a dewdrop of air that vibrated to a point in the center. The town was not aware of the experiment because a town parade was happening across town and the police wasn't even there at the experiment. While the experiment continued, a woman saw these same events happening, where the dog on the leash would at some points actually materialize or skip together with the man, and then other times be seen moment by moment at different times around the machine, like he and dog were disappearing and reappearing in time in split seconds. The machine appeared to protect the subject inside while time was being affected outside of the vortex. What would the effects of this experiment be on the environment? It isn't clear from what I saw in the dream, because by this point, I woke up and couldn't find out any more details.